Hey, music community, Jeff here again in the house with some recent things that have come in that I wanted to show. That's what we're here for, right? All right, anyway, got a handful of stuff that came in. Some of this had trickled in while I was on vacation last week, and some of it has trickled in just in the past day or two. And so, yeah, let's get on board. One of these I've been waiting for a couple weeks. My problem was I pre-ordered it. People are showing it. They got it. Actually, one of the people watches said that they've been watching, waiting for me to show it. And I'm like, I haven't got it yet. And the reason was because at the time it came out, I did the pre-order. And I also ordered another item with it, both of which were pre-orders. And one came out 2 weeks later. So I had to wait until it came in. The new Bride album, Are You Awake? I get to see that's a Are You Awake? So, Bride, longtime fan, discovered them when they were called Matrix in the early 80s, and then they became Bride, and this is like, okay, it depends on how you want to divide this up, but this would be technically their 17th full band studio album. I say technically because they did release 2 albums last year under the name Bride, a Christmas album and a gospel album, which I think are probably a little more the two brothers, Dale and Troy, than it would be. Even though they wanted the Bride moniker, I think, they weren't really necessarily full band type albums. So I'm labeling this one as their 17th full hard rockin' band Bride album. Like I said, I pre-ordered it. It came out a couple weeks ago. I got mine held up a little bit. It's just on black. I have listened to a little of it before it came in. It's got the insert with all of that. And do I have it here? Oh, yeah. So the first handful of orders came with the poster. I want to say, was it the first 100 or the first 50? Came with the poster for it. Yeah, so it's if you're it's continuation in the most part. So Bride is one of those bands that throughout the time have changed styles, kept up to certain styles, sounds and stuff. They did some alternative stuff. Oh, they bounce around. Their probably most popular album that everybody screams that they want to hear more about, hear more from is the Snakes in the Playground, which was recently reissued on vinyl and CD and remastered, all that. We loved all that, so that's finally saw a vinyl reissue. And so the band has changed styles a little bit. They the past couple albums have been pretty much similar to their just hard rock and metal stuff, and so that's where this is in line with. Not a whole lot of drastic changes. His vocal styles, in my opinion, are a little different in these later years, but I think that's just because everybody changes a little, so there is a little difference there, and maybe that just comes with age. But overall, it's a hard rocking album. Falls right in line with what we've been hearing from them recently. And they're already talking online that him and his brother are already working on a new album. So it's like this one just came out, and they're already writing songs for a new one. Now, I did get that, and because it was a combo deal, I got the gold disc edition of the CD. These are on retroactive. These come with 2 cards, one of Dale, one of Troy. So, and it's a gold disc. Got the normal treatment for that. And of course, this goes hand in hand with the EP that came out a couple months ago. I've already shown this, but there's 2 songs on here from this album, 2 songs from a previous, and 2 songs that are exclusive to this release, exclusive EP tracks. So you got to have these hand in hand so you get the extra tracks there. So I went ahead and got the combo deal with that to have all of that. Now, the thing that I ordered with that held it up, my own fault, Perpetual Paranoia, also Dale Thompson on vocals. This is one of his side projects, and they've got 1, 2, 3. I think this is the 4th album, if I'm not mistaken. And so I ordered this at the same time, and this came out a little bit later, so I had gotten it held up. It's in a typical, like a trifold case here. It also comes with the card of the guitar player there. And yeah, that's it for that. It's on a CD, and it's just in this slip case here. So those came at the same time, and so there you go. Been keeping up with the side project on that. Now, let's see. other news. That was one label. The rest of this is going to be Rocks Records, and this has come in more recently. Mercy Rule Overruled, first time reissued ever. This 1989 album came out. I had it back in the day. It was put out on CD, I think, in '90. And I used to have the album years ago. But anyway, it's one of those albums that is hard to find, and when you do find it, it's really expensive. So I have not picked it up on vinyl in the past few years. Here we got it reissued. Has a bonus track which was on a comp album at one point, and so yeah, it is standard black, standard inserts, lyrics and things. A lot of this done by our own Scott Waters. Traditional 80s, more straightforward metal. I don't know, some people might want to throw it into the, it's not really the glammy side, but maybe a little. People compare them at times to kind of a Scorpions feel. Maybe the vocals kind of make it sound that way to me, to some people. It was also reissued on CD, so I picked that up because the CD has 5 bonus tracks. Bonus tracks are from an EP, which honestly I don't recall. I know back in the day in '87 they had a 3-song demo, and then in '89 they had an album, but I don't recall these demo EP tracks. Well, one site lists them as, here they're listed as demos, but including the compilation plus the demos. But another place was listing it as part of an EP, so maybe it was an EP of demos. But the songs are from the album; they're just demo versions. So there you have that. What is this? Opinion. So this is the latest 7-inch by Ritual Servant. It's got 2 songs, Lazarus and Death and Life. South Carolina-based band, thrash. I've talked about them before because this is 3 of 4. You can see on the back it says 3 of 4. And this was 1 and 2. This is 1 of 4, 2 of 4. And so what it is they're putting these out as 2 at a time to make them, I think I got them lined up right. It makes a, single poster picture type thing. So there is a 4th one to come. And so we've been getting these over the past couple months as the band was releasing them. Now the odd thing, I don't know, I say odd timing is, my thoughts were they're going to release 2 at a time, 2 songs at a time over the next few months. And then by the time they get to the 8th, the 4th part with all 8 songs, they'll release them as a CD. But hey, after the 3rd part, we got the 8-song CD right here. So I already know what the next 2 songs are. I already got them. But I will say, really enjoy this album. I really enjoy, their first album was really good, but I'm really enjoying their second album. So here it is. This is a whole album, Albus Mendacium. I got all this Latin stuff on here. But yeah, great stuff. But, I'm keeping up with this. This is on a white. They were like, I think the other ones are all black, but this one is like 100 white and 150 black. I grabbed one of the white ones. So there's that. Great stuff there. This I really have enjoyed listening to this. Dynasty, I just call them Dynasty. They are called Dynasty of Metal because there's a lot of bands called Dynasty, but they differentiate themselves with that. But for the most part, most of the record, they're just listed as Dynasty most of the time. So, and what they've done here, aside from the beautiful artwork, which I wonder if this is not all AI type stuff, very that whole Lord of the Rings medieval Dungeons and Dragons look, which I really enjoy. Back to the past, and what this band has done, where these guys are from overseas, I'd say Brazil or someplace, I forget exactly where. You could tell from the vocals, they got that accent. Cover tunes of a bunch of different bands, all Christian metal bands from the past. Deliverance, Barren Cross, Tourniquet, Mortification, Striper, Saint. I mean, it's just, and they've done great, White Cross. They've done great jobs with all the songs that, even Petra. They do a metal version of a Petra song, Beat the System, which is Petra's most synth-based, new wave-ish album. and they've done a a hard rocking version on here. So yeah, it's they do Bride. They do Bride. They have a Bride song in here. Psychedelic Super Jesus, great song. Anyway, it's just. And then there's one song on here which I believe I didn't look at the liner notes, but it doesn't have a band name listed by it, so maybe they're one of the original. Dynasty recently, their first 3 albums, or their early 3 albums, were recently reissued. This is on Rocks Records. Their other 3 albums were released on Girder. They came with cards and everything. And so this is just another notch in the Dynasty. But this is a new album, though the other 3 were reissues. But I've really enjoyed this. This is a band I'd only heard about, and this is the first time the album came out about, they say, a year or 2 ago digitally. But this is the first time on an actual physical product. Blood Moon Rising by Preterist. Pretty much a one-man band. He plays and sings and does it all, but he does have a bass player that does some work on here, and then he's got the guitar player from Narnia who did some work on here with him. So it's more of a project with this pretty much just one man doing everything, but then he has a couple musicians that have helped out. Wonderful package, wonderful packing job, just overall. Think of it as power metal, Euro metal. It's going to be in that line. I forget where he's from, but definitely has a kind of a European metal flair to it. And yeah, so I've enjoyed this so far. I'm going to reach out to him probably to talk about the name and some other things that are in there, what's said in there. 2 other things which I know little to nothing about. I heard samples and bought them, and they're both from Rocks, and that's 2 releases by Soldiers of Light. My impressions are, and from the small amount of liner notes that I did read, the band broke up years ago in the 90s, but the singer, one of the main guys, continued to write music and later on decided to record a lot of the stuff that had not seen the light of day. And so we get 2 CDs worth of it. And I got to say, I've been really impressed. Sometimes you get this kind of stuff and you're like, oh, yeah, that should have stayed unrecorded. It's garage band type material. But no, these are top notch, hard rock. I hate using the term AOR, but he's got a really nice vocal style at times. But it's harder than AOR, but it feels at times smooth enough to be just a melodic hard rock. And so, yeah. So I've enjoyed these 2. I'd love to, I don't know. I'd love to know a little more about them. But, this is great stuff that they reissued. And actually, that's it. So it's mainly a bunch of CDs, most of them from Rocks, and a couple of them from Retroactive. But, yeah, great stuff. I know a lot of people are going to be like, I haven't heard of these bands. That's because a lot of these bands do fall into the Christian metal, thrash area. But don't be afraid to check them out. They're great stuff. Open your mind, check them out. Lots of great music out there on all avenues. And I'll be back later. Rock on and rock hard.